Hi, preschool friends. Miss Christine here with a story for today. And this story is going to be something that might be very similar to a story that we read last week. I'm going to read the title to you, and then I'm going to see if you can guess what story it sounds similar to. The name of this book is called Brownilocks and the Three Bowls of Cornflakes. Now, does that remind you of a book that we read last week? Did you say yes? If you did, you're right. It sounds very similar to the story we read last week called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So I'm wondering if this book is going to be similar to Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I wonder if there are a lot of things that are the same. What do you think? I think you're right. I think there are going to be a lot of things that are the same, but maybe a few differences too. Now, the author and illustrator of this book is Enid, Richemont, and Polona, Lovsin. That means they wrote the words and they drew the pictures. I'm excited to find out what this book's about. Let's get started. Here's Brownilocks and the Three Bowls of Cornflakes. So make sure you're watching and listening for similarities or things that are the same between this book and Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Here we go. Mom put out 3 bowls of cornflakes. So there's already one similarity. There's 3 bowls of cornflakes and there was 3 bowls of porridge. Let's go for a walk before breakfast, she said. Brownilocks the bear was out walking too. She smelled the cornflakes. Tasty, she thought, climbing in. So there's another similarity. The family's going out for a walk just like the bears did, and Brownilocks is climbing in the window just like Goldilocks came into the bear's house. Brownilocks sat on Dad's chair. Too hard, she growled. So she tried Mom's chair. Too soft, she moaned. She went over to Sam's chair. Just right, she thought, reaching for Sam's cornflakes. So there's some more similarities. Brownilocks tried out all the chairs just like Goldilocks tried out all the chairs. And one of the big differences you might have noticed so far is that Brownilocks is a bear and Goldilocks was a girl. So they switched roles in this one. The bear is the one breaking into the house and going through the family stuff. And in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Goldilocks was a girl breaking into the bear's house and going through their stuff. But crash! Brownilocks was too heavy and Sam's chair snapped. That means it broke. Just like in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Goldilocks broke Baby Bear's chair. Brownilocks felt sleepy. She tried the biggest bed. Too hard, she grunted. She tried the next bed. Too bouncy, she cried. Then she tried the smallest bed. Just right, she said, so she climbed on and fell asleep. There's another thing that's the same. Goldilocks tried out all the beds and then fell asleep in Baby Bear's bed. Mom, Dad, and Sam came back from their walk. Dad frowned. Who's been sitting in my chair? He asked. Who's been sitting in my chair? Mom gasped. Then Sam yelled, Who broke my chair and ate all my cornflakes? Do you see those bare footprints all around? I wonder if they would be able to figure out who was in their house. That's another thing that was the same between the two books. The parents came back and noticed that their chairs were sat in, and Baby Bear noticed his chair was broken. They noticed their porridge was eaten. And in this book, they noticed that their chairs were sat in, and Sam noticed that his chair was broke and his cornflakes are gone. They looked all over the house. Who's been sleeping in my bed? Cried Dad. And in my bed, cried Mom. Hey, look who's in my bed, yelled Sam. And she's snoring. So there's Brownilocks sleeping in Sam's bed, just like Goldilocks was sleeping in Baby Bear's bed. They both got caught, are both the same. Brownilocks woke up, rushed downstairs, and ran outside. She ran across the garden and into the woods. She was a nice bear, Sam sighed. I wish she'd come back. So there's one thing that is the same again. When they woke up, Goldilocks and Brownilocks both ran out of the house. But at the end of Goldilocks, I remember it said that she was never seen again. Like she never came back and bugged the bears again. But on this story, Sam is saying she was nice. I hope she comes back. Do you think she'll come back? I think so too. Let's see. Dad fixed Sam's chair and found a beanbag for Brownilocks. That's nice. He's finding her something to sit on. The next morning, Mom put out 4 bowls of cornflakes, one for her, one for Sam, one for Dad, and one for a big one for the bear. So Dad's finding a chair for Brownilocks. Mom's making sure she has something to eat when she comes back. Brownilocks soon came back when she smelled the cornflakes. You were right, she did come back. Here's your bowl, said Sam. Here's your beanbag, called Dad. Brownilocks sat on Dad's chair. Try the beanbag, Dad said. Then Brownilocks tried Sam's bowl. This one's bigger, said Sam. Brownilocks gobbled up all the cornflakes and slurped up all the milk in the big bowl. So she still wanted to try out the other people's stuff, but they helped show her what was meant for her. Brownilocks yawned. She thumped up the stairs and lay down on Sam's bed. Then Sam curled up with Brownilocks and read her a story. I wonder if he's reading her Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. That would be pretty silly, wouldn't it? So it looks like even though they found her own place to sit and had her own food for her, she still had to sleep in Sam's bed, but it doesn't look like he minds. But Brownilocks longed to be outside. She climbed out of the window and ran into the woods. Sam wanted to see his new friend again. Come back soon, he cried. So Brownilocks wasn't going to live with them forever. It's a bear, and she likes living in the woods. So it was nice of them to offer the opportunity for her to come back and visit whenever she wanted to. But she likes living in the woods. Brownilocks liked the woods, but she also liked Sam and the tasty cornflakes. She did come back the very next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. So it sounds like they made a new friend. I'm so happy that it worked out for them. So there's a difference in the story. Goldilocks got scared and ran away from the bears and never came back. But Brownilocks might have got scared at first, but then she realized that they were a nice family and they helped to make her feel welcome and they invited her to come back. So that's the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed listening to a different version of the book we read last week. It's fun sometimes to read different versions because you can see where the authors kept things the same and when they made changes to make the story their own. I love reading books like this where you can see 2 different versions. Maybe we can do it again sometime. And if you have the opportunity to read 2 different stories of a same book title, you should take the chance. There's lots of opportunities to do it. For example, Cinderella is a big one. Cinderella is a very popular book all over the world and in many different cultures. So you can read different versions of the same story. So it's a similar storyline, but the different cultures have made different changes to the book to make it their own. So those are really fun books to read and explore. I hope you take the opportunity to do so. Post your comments below if you've ever read a book that had 2 different versions, and let me know what you liked best about these 2 books. Maybe you thought of a similarity or difference that I didn't. Post in the comments below. See you next time.